Hey, what's going on, guys? It's HawksNest here, back with another COD mobile video. Now, inside of today's video, we're going to be talking about the Holger 26. Now, if you guys have been watching other YouTubers' top 5 lists, you'll probably have noticed by now that the Holger 26 is largely considered the best weapon inside of the game right now, at least for multiplayer, although it is super good in BR as well. So I thought in today's video, I would go over the basic stats of the gun so that you guys can learn exactly how to use it. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about today's video sponsor. Today's video sponsor is Metal TV. Metal TV is a gameplay clipping tool as well as a gameplay social media. Metal TV is a free application for desktop, iOS, and Android, and it allows for 1080p 60 capture or even higher if you can support that. If you guys want to check out the app, my custom download link will be in the description, but one of the coolest things about it is its mobile integration. Basically, you can access all of the clips that you have captured on your PC on your mobile devices to post it to different social media platforms or Metal TV. You can also do the reverse by accessing your Android clips on your PC or on your iOS device. Unfortunately though, you can't do clips with an iOS device because it does not have that support. Recording a clip on Metal is super easy. Basically, just get your settings dialed in to fit your PC specs. You can just work with default, and then if your game is lagging or anything like that, you can just lower the settings. Then basically all you have to do is play the game and get your insane clips, and then press the clipping button that you do have selected, or just use whatever's default. Then after that, you can share the clip on Metal or other social medias, or you could save the clip to your device. So once again, thank you to Metal for sponsoring today's video. If you guys want to check out the app, it will be linked down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the rest of the video. Diving right into the Holger stats, we're going to go ahead and start with the damage. Now, the damage profile of this weapon is 31 damage from 0 to 17 meters, 25 damage from 18 to 25 meters, and then 26 meters and beyond is going to be 21 damage. And the multipliers of this weapon is super basic. You're getting a 1.2 times headshot multiplier, and then you're going to be dealing base damage to the rest of the body, which means from 0 to 17 meters, you're going to be dealing 31 damage to anywhere on the body unless you hit the head, in which case you'd be dealing 37.2 damage. And essentially what you need to take away from this information is that with the Holger, you can be aiming for the center of mass or the groin or stomach area, because you don't need your shots to be hitting the upper body to get the max time to kill. And also, headshots really aren't that useful on this weapon. You are able to 3-tap at closer ranges, but I would just recommend going for a consistent 4-tap by hitting, again, center mass. Following that, the fire rate of this weapon is 11.74 rounds per second, or in other words, 705 rounds per minute. This fire rate is near identical to weapons like the AMAX, the H3K, and the HBR. So now that we know the damage profile and the fire rate of the weapon, we can talk about the time to kill. The time to kill from 0 to 17 meters is going to be 256 milliseconds. The time to kill from 18 to 25 is also going to be 256 milliseconds, because both 31 damage and 25 damage are 4-shot kills. And then the weapon does drop off to a 5-shot kill from 26 meters and beyond, in which case you're going to be getting a time to kill of 341 milliseconds, which means that this weapon has a above average time to kill at basically all ranges, including extremely long range, which is part of the reason that this weapon does work in BR very, very well. Now, following the lethality stats of the Holger is the mobility stats. In terms of the base ADS speed for the Holger, it is 550 milliseconds, which obviously is very slow when you're comparing that to SMGs or ARs, but you can speed it up substantially with one of the magazine attachments, specifically the lightweight polymer mag if you want to get max ADS speed, in which case you're going to be getting a time to kill of 417 milliseconds. And the sprint to fire is 133 milliseconds, which is very slow compared to ARs and SMGs once again. And even with the magazine attachment, you're still going to be getting the exact same sprint to fire time. So essentially what this means is that with this weapon, you need to make sure that you're canceling your sprint before you ADS, and you can do this by sliding and then pressing the ADS button. Essentially what this is doing is making it so that you don't have to have the delay where you go from the sprint animation to lifting your gun up then to ADSing, because that can be extremely slow. But again, you can basically get rid of this time delay, the sprint fire delay, by just sliding and then ADSing. I believe there's other methods as well, but I haven't really tested that. I just know that when you do slide, it does get rid of the sprint fire time, which again is a very big issue on this gun because it is an LMG, and the magazine attachment still doesn't reduce the sprint to fire time. In terms of the magazine information, with the base mag, you have 100 rounds with a reload speed of 3.05 seconds or a reload cancel time of 2.03. Essentially, that means if you cancel the reload animation by the time your gun actually fills up with the ammo, it'll take 2 seconds as opposed to 3 seconds. But if you are using the 30-round magazine, you're going to be able to get that down to 2.55 seconds for a full reload, or a reload cancel time of 1.6 seconds, so a very fast reload. In terms of the movement speed for the Holger, the base magazine has a sprint speed of 5.84 meters per second and a ADS movement speed of 2.47 meters per second. But if you do have the 30 round magazine, which is pretty much the only mag I'm going to be talking about right now, is just kind of a baseline, you are going to be able to get your sprint speed up to 6.03 meters per second or 2.55 meters per second for ADS movement speed. Now, do keep in mind, even with the boosted mobility stats of the magazine, this is still going to be slow relative to other ARs or SMGs. Actually, especially SMGs. Now let's go ahead and talk about the accuracy of the weapon. According to Baraja's BSA study, he found that the Holger has a 4.8 BSA rating with a taper rating of 11. Basically what this means is that the BSA is below average. If you don't know what BSA is, essentially it's how accurate your gun is. It's not recoil, but it's just how the bullets spread. And again, he got a rating of 4.8, which is on the lower side, but still not awful. But it does have a taper rating of 11, which means that the BSA won't hit its maximum spread until the 11th bullet. A lot of guns will hit their maximum spread within a couple bullets, but again, the Holger is all the way up to 11, so your first 5 or 6 shots will be highly accurate. And here's what the recoil pattern looks like on the Holger with absolutely no attachments. So as you can tell, it starts to drift to the right, and then it kind of goes center and then drifts to the right again and kind of makes a snake shape, which means that controlling this weapon isn't super difficult, but it's not as easy as just pulling down. You are going to have to compensate by moving your fingers side to side a little bit, which you can learn through muscle memory, and again, isn't that bad, but it could be better. I'll go ahead and show you guys it one more time so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see, it goes to the right, and then it starts going back to the middle, and then the right again, and it does this continuous snake shape. So that is going to be all the stats that I do have for you guys for the Holger. So the main takeaways that you want to remember is that you need to make sure that you're sliding and then ADS and firing, because if you don't do this, you're going to have a horrendous sprint to fire time, which makes it so that your reaction time is essentially much slower. So make sure you're sliding, then ADS, then shooting. Also aim for the center mass with this weapon, because again, it doesn't have lower leg multipliers and headshots aren't that helpful. So typically just kind of aim for the stomach area to ensure you're hitting as many shots as you possibly can. And in terms of the build, you could honestly play this weapon in a few different ways. If you want to play highly aggressive, then you're definitely going to want to have one of the magazines. I recommend just going with the lightweight polymer mag, but again, you could go ahead and evaluate the differences with the stats given right here and just kind of see what fits your playstyle best. But just to start, I would say go with the lightweight polymer mag. Also OWC laser, just because this is a given, you're getting increased ADS speed and better BSA, which is good for literally any weapon. I also like to throw in the granulated because the BSA rating on this gun is not great, although once again, the first 5 or 6 shots are going to be really accurate, but after that, it starts to fall off pretty quickly. Then the following 2 attachments really are up to you and your playstyle. If you want to go ahead and put a suppressor on it, you could do that. I think the range on this weapon is already really good, so I wouldn't go with a monolithic. I would probably do a light suppressor or maybe even a tactical suppressor. Up to you on how you want to play it, but for me, I typically won't run a suppressor. So what I would do is do a combat stock just to get a little bit more ADS speed so I can play this weapon a little bit more aggressively. And then if you want to play really aggressive, you could also combat that or combo it with a MIP light barrel. If you think that's just too much ADS speed and you want a little bit more control to play this weapon at those longer ranges, you could go with a underbarrel of your choice. Personally, my favorite, if I am trying to use this gun at a little bit longer ranges, is going to be the strike foregrip, which will reduce my vertical recoil and ADS bullet spread. And I probably should equip that too. Again, there is other ways to build this weapon as well. You could go with the 100 round magazine and play this gun a little bit more slow if you'd like to. So you could unequip this and then maybe put on that suppressor we were talking about earlier. Maybe an optic if you really dislike the iron sights, although I do think the base iron sights are pretty solid. Or you could go ahead and put on the MIP light barrel and just be a little bit more aggressive, but have a 100 round magazine. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys thought of this kind of weapon guide format down below. Typically, I like to compare weapons, but inside of this video, I just tried to really hone in on the gun and just look at its stats and not compare it to any other weapons. So let me know what you guys thought of that. And make sure to check out Metal TV with the link down below again. But with that being said, see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Peace.